Hello guys. In my second video, in my second video in my YouTube channel, which is one of my subjects that I'm taking in this semester is PGT201, Instructional Technology Practices. We've been given tasks to do. So this is one of the tasks, which is we have to do slides and post it in the YouTube channel. Okay. So one of the learning theory I take is Cognitivism Learning Theory. So in the contents, I will tell you guys about the view of knowledge, view of learners, view of teachers, and also the expertise. So for the view of knowledge, I will tell you guys what is the cognitivism, what is the learning theory, and why do we need this learning theory, and how does it work. For the view of learners, it is the role of the students. For the view of teachers, the role of the teachers. And for the expertise, the ones who initiate or create this psychological, or the ones who create the development and the learning theory. Okay. So the view of knowledge. So what is cognitivism? Cognitivism is the mental action or process of acquiring knowledge and understanding through thought, experience, and senses. Okay. So the basic is cognitivism is the process of thinking, the process of how you solve a problem based on our experience, based on our senses, our thoughts, and our understanding about a topic or a situation. Okay. So we go to the learning theory right here, the yellow one. So learning theory is based on mental processes by which learners take in information, interpret, store, and retrieve information. Okay. So, for example, the learners or we students, not exactly at USM, maybe in schools, in other universities, maybe in other country also, and any places. We often learn information, we often learn new things. So students just not take the new thing and memorize. They basically interpret, store, and retrieve the information because knowledge, we use it for a long time. So how does it work? Cognitive learning theory explains how internal and external factors influence an individual's mental processes to supplement learning. Okay, for example, in classroom, teachers give a few questions for the students to solve. So that is the first example. The second example is examinations. Okay, examinations. Teachers give higher order thinking skills questions. So the students have to think, and the teachers can evaluate their cognitivism. Okay. So why students need this learning theory? So cognitive learning helps students build transferable problem solving and study skills that they can apply in any subject, or they can apply in their daily life. Developing cognitive skills allows students to build upon previous knowledge and ideas. Okay, so I want to explain this. To build upon previous knowledge and ideas. Okay, for example, if before this we learn our previous knowledge, and then we learn the new knowledge. So we can build a new knowledge based on the previous one and the now one. Okay. Next, we go to the view of learners. So learner is an active role. So what is an active role? For example, the student in classes have to always learn, always listen to the teachers, always thinks on what the teacher teach in the class. Okay. Second one, learners should keen on solving hot question. This is important to increase their understanding, to increase their thinking skills, to increase their critical thinking. Because hot questions, students always lack of knowledge in answering these questions. The third one is learner acts curiously in problem solving. Okay, for example, in classroom, teachers give a few questions or a few very hard questions. So, in order the students to answer, they have to ask the teachers on how to answer. They have to have their curiosity to solve the problem. And the last one is learner use their critical thinking to solve critical problems. Of course, if we want to solve the critical problems, we have to think critically. Next one is the view of teachers. Okay, the view of teachers. Teachers offer the opportunity to reflection at the end of session. Okay, so teachers have to give the students space at the end of the session so that uh, the students can tell what they learn in their session. The second one, teach with routines and instructional supports that assist students as they apply appropriate techniques and strategies. Okay, as teacher, they also have to be a role model, which they have to plan the strategy so that students can understand very perfectly in the class. The third one is fulfills a pivotal role, bridging the gap between student and content or skill to be learned. As a teacher, they have to bring the gap closer between the knowledge and the students in order to make the students to understand what they teach. And the fourth one is confirms and challenges learners' existing knowledge. For example, teachers can do quiz or teachers can make examination to challenge their existing knowledge. First, and the last one is be a model to use the skills and stimulate students to be the model. Okay, for example, if a teachers want to solve a problem, a HOTS problem, HOTS is higher order thinking skills problem, sorry. The teachers must put themselves in the situation. And if the teachers can do it, so the teachers can bring also the students to stimulate the students to be the model, which means the students also can solve the higher order thinking skill questions. The next one is the expertise. Okay, so there are two expertise, which is Jean Piaget and Lev Vygotsky. So we move on to Jean Piaget first. Jean Piaget is a Swiss psychologist that explains how a child constructs a mental model of the world. He disagreed with the idea that intelligence was a fixed trait. So he disagreed that he disagreed that intelligence come from our parents. It is not logic because knowledge is come from the environment. And the second one is he disagree that knowledge is already fixed in people's mind. But then he agreed that cognitive development is a process which occurs due to biological maturation and interaction with the environment. I will explain this. This man, Jean Piaget, he agreed that the cognitive development, how students and how a child thinks, is based on the experience and based on the environment itself. Okay, so for Jean Piaget, cognitive development was a progressive reorganization of mental processes as a result of biological maturation and environmental experience, as I told you just now. Next one is Lev Vygotsky. Vygotsky approach to child development is a form of social constructivism based on the idea that cognitive functions are the product of social interactions. Okay, what Vygotsky tells here is how, if for the example we can use is the social interaction between teachers and students. So the social interaction between teacher and student, teacher will be the role model and student will be the learner to approach or to learn from the teacher on how to critical thinking, on how to solve difficult questions, on how to solve daily life problems. Okay, so Vygotsky believed that everything is learned on two levels. First, through interaction with others, and then integrated into the individual mental structure. So the first level is people have to interact with each other in order to raise their thinking skills. And in the development of their thinking skills, that is the second level. Okay, so that's all from me for this cognitivism learning theory. So I have some quote right here from Clark Bernard. It is what we know already that often prevent us from learning. Okay, thank you.